Hey, what's up, everybody? Guys, my name is Miles Boyer. I'm standing in Cabo right now at this cool place called the Cape. It's a Thompson hotel, a Hyatt hotel right outside of Cabo. Yeah, we got here yesterday for a beautiful wedding that is actually tomorrow. And so we realized that as gorgeous as this place is, we should probably do some behind the scenes work on letting you guys know how we got here, the prep and planning that goes into like doing a wedding at this scale at a place that's this luxurious and this cool, even some of the gear that we're going to be using, and then of course the locations we're headed to, and some of the actual frames. And so if you paid attention to that at all, that means that you're going to be seeing work that we probably should have done for this video before we even got here, but it's too late for that. As well as work that hasn't even happened yet. So it's Friday right now. We're going to be including photos in this video that we will be shooting tomorrow based on the locations we're scouting today. So come along with us and come hang, and we'll figure this out together. All right, so full disclosure, when we got here yesterday, we were a little surprised at how much smaller this place is than we thought it would be. We've shot at a lot of resorts around, and usually they're like these big sprawling places with lots of pools and restaurants and just wild drunk people everywhere. And this feels a lot more intimate. Even just sitting here in the lobby, like it feels like people are listening to us, which is kind of fun and also kind of weird. So that being said, we poked around a little bit yesterday, and it took us probably maybe like 5 to 8 minutes to really get a view of where we were gonna shoot. But we're gonna go walk today and kind of see where all those places are and kind of re-envision them. But I wanted to start first by showing you guys a couple of the things that I always just do before we leave to kind of get an idea for where the heck we're going. So I'm gonna pull up a couple of my favorite apps and we'll talk through how that process works and when, like in the timeline, all of that stuff exists, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so the first place to start with, like always researching things, is Instagram. I don't love that that's something I'll admit right off the bat, but it works. But here's the thing I always do. I always click over to see the photos that other people are tagging of these places more than the photos they're tagging themselves. So ignore my notifications and kind of walk through these with me, because what we noticed as we were researching was just like how wildly dynamic the light is here. And images that feel like they're really, really contrasty, all the way through images that feel like they're very soft and pretty. And I knew before we got here that location was going to be key. And so the one thing that we knew for sure was the ceremony was going to be right here. Only in this picture, there's like 80 chairs or something like that, and we had 120. And so we just have a lot to work out. Okay, so then the next step is knowing that if there's all these hard shadows and everything, there's got to be an app that helps me kind of visualize what that's actually going to look like. And my favorite app for that is called Sun Surveyor. So Sun Surveyor will let us literally grab a GPS lock on where we are and then zoom in. And so it's just like a Google satellite view of the actual resort. What I love about that is it shows us, based on the date that we're here and the time that we're here, I can literally kind of scan through and look at like where the sun is going to be at any given moment. That helps us so much start to visualize, like if the ceremony is going to be right on top of this cool little thing right there, what time the ceremony, the sunset is going to happen, and then how to back out as we're building a schedule, if that makes sense. It also, probably even more importantly, for like the really cool photos, the shots that everybody wants us to take, it helps us really visualize where that sun is going to set, which is this red line right here, and what time we need to be down on the beach doing that stuff. So as we got out here last night, our first plan was really to be on the beach at around 6 o'clock, which the sunset is at 6:23 tonight, so that we could just sort of see what that looks like. Anyway, all right, let's move ahead and let's go to some of the fun locations we're planning on looking at. All right, so we're like kind of right in the heart of the whole hotel right now, which is really neat. Actually, you can probably tell this, they're setting up for another wedding right now because it's Mexico and they knock these weddings out like 3 a weekend. But we're gonna be here for the ceremony, but we're starting our schedule off tomorrow, obviously with hair and makeup photos of the bride and all the bridesmaids. 9 bridesmaids, by the way, we just found out today. I thought there was a few less than that. But we're actually gonna be at the top floor over here for all of that in the bride's parents' villa. Pretty neat. It's sort of unique how the spaces look. We went and walked it earlier, and like our room has a lot of natural light, but the larger rooms, because they're villas, they are definitely a little bit more like a cave. And so we are gonna be pushing everything, all the especially the makeup for the bride, and then her getting dressed right up against these really pretty windows that are right there. But I mean, ultimately what you're looking for is just consistency, right? So we want our photos to feel as though everything from the moment that we showed up and shot some of the details and the bride getting her makeup done all the way through until they enter their reception is all like one cohesive story. And so trying to find light that really plays in a really similar way so that the color looks the same is just a big part of that. So we're gonna be aiming for a lot of light tomorrow, even though we aren't necessarily like light and airy photographers. So we'll start there. But our first outdoor scouting place that we're gonna go is really where we're going to let the bridesmaids see the bride for the very first time in her dress. A lot of people call that a first look, whatever you wanna call it. We've gotta find a really cute place for all of those girls to kind of swoon and have fun with the bride and hopefully a bottle of champagne. Okay, so total sidebar here. We've stopped at kind of a random place to bring up something kind of fun. So often right after the bride gets dressed, we love to do just a quick first look with her and her dad. It's just sort of a special way to let dad feel like he's a really important role in this whole thing. Actually, he does and should have a really important role, but also it allows him to see her before everybody else does. And so we're sitting right here out in front of the bride's parents' villa where the hair and makeup will happen. And we will get her dressed upstairs on the balcony with her mom, and then bring her and her mom down here for that quick little moment with her and her dad. I think it's going to be sweet and very intimate, and we try not to spend a ton of time on that and put the dads on the spot, but it's sort of a fun way to make sure that dad feels seen and that those little memories are created. Again, memories over the photos, right? It's like we've always known, been set in stone, unbreakable. It's like I've always dreamed. Okay, so I actually think we found the perfect spot for the bride's maids to see her for the first time. Actually, full disclosure, we were talking about Instagram earlier anyway. This was a shot that was kind of inspired by a photo that I found on Instagram. I really liked this shot where you can see that it says the cape kind of over the girls' heads. It just seemed like a fun place. But also, one of the things we're always looking at is safe light for really big moments. Definitely not afraid to shoot in like wild, dynamic, contrasty, crazy light as we're moving around. But in these like special moments where we want to make sure that we catch everybody's faces, everybody's reactions, all the emotion. We're kind of looking for safe light. And so again, we pull up Sun Surveyor, kind of find where the shade is going to be, and then found this spot as sort of a perfect spot. So I think what we'll probably do actually is line up all the girls sort of behind me and then have the bride walking from right behind where you're looking at right now. And I think this is going to be a really special spot to do this. Mexico does not love my hair.